Sure, we're up and running. Alright, guys. Blah, 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 blah. Number 5. Believe it or not, this is the same camera as the video before. Number 1. Why the world sucks. Politics. Number 2. Sports are overrated.
Alright. So this video is going to be about
Bad haircuts.
one of those let's call them like pop intellectuals.
Wait, what? Pop intellectuals?
Pop intellectuals, like Sam Harris, Jordan Peterson, Richard Dawkins.
Pop culture intellectuals.
Yeah, they're out in front of the camera a lot.
Oh, isn't that what's Neil deGrasse Tyson?
That's him too. I'd say that's more of a science.
Bill Nye the Science Guy?
Yeah, that leans towards science.
No, he's not a scientist.
It's getting old, man.
What?
Everyone says it.
They don't mean it like I do.
Dude, this is my childhood.
I watched him too, alright? I enjoyed it.
Kept us from learning any shit in class. Just sit and watch a movie.
Yeah. No. It was
Yes.
Okay, children, your teacher's out sick today. Yes! Savages. Anyway, they roll in the TV on the wheels, pop in the tape. I hope you all die in hell. He presses play. Bill Nye the Science. Bill Nye the Show. Hi guys, I'm getting paid to say all this. Ready?
Alright.
This is what happens, you poor, whatever.
So, Steven Pinker, I believe the name of his book is Enlightenment Now. And
Enlightenment Now. Shows him on a raft in some, like Apocalypse Now. Except he's glowing.
And I believe the premise is that the world has progressively gotten better because of things like, because of science, technology, and shit like that.
Sure.
I forgot the camera's down here.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like looking off into the distance.
It's a test. Just do this.
Look at my eyes. I'm like out here somewhere.
Yeah, I did it too. It's like, just cross your eyes. That way, they'll never know.
Alright, so we're gonna watch his TED Talk from. Let's see when this motherfucker's from. I think it's pretty new. May 21st of this year, so a couple weeks ago. And I've heard him say this idea before, that the world is progressing. And he doesn't mean progressing as in we went from hammer to jackhammer to when we went from the printing press to 3D printing, which it has.
Guns.
Yeah, guns have been. I don't think he mentions that, but
When I was a kid, right?
hold on. Let me finish the premise.
Fuck.
I think he's progressing. I think he means progression by like internal processes, like happiness and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead with your story.
It's quite a blow right there in my jaw.
All right, you got the floor, man.
I can't walk now. Go ahead, broke your leg. Go ahead, take the stand. Yeah, it's like, a little phone on the wall with the wire. You're talking onto it. You see your mom, they're just twirling it, whatever, if they do that kind of thing. And now, we have a computer that talks to us. We can call people.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a camera.
You have a Macintosh.
We have evolved. Macintosh.
You have an advanced Macintosh in
Yeah.
your pocket.
And it listens to us.
Don't bite the apple. Go with Windows. Nah.
And it listens to us.
Well, that's the other part of progression.
Yeah. We're evolving.
But let's hear his take on it.
Hey.
Let's hear what he's saying.
I've evolved greatly since then.
All right, so this is Steven Pinker's TED Talk from a couple weeks ago.
Play the clip. Play the clip.
I'm gonna steal Jody's corner.
Ew. Don't go. It's like a dropping.
Dude, they do. They do like. They purposely do like suspect shit under. There's someone named HT3. They renamed him to HT Sus.
The HT Sus.
It's better.
Oh, look at that.
Your X-Files like, come on, man. Mad gay, man. Come on.
And then it's like, you just hear like a,
Don't you grab my ass, man.
yo, hold me at the door. It's Biden. Joe Biden. We still playing this game? Hold on. We still playing this game? Are we still playing this game? The pause game. You know what I'm talking about. Who's still playing this game? It's like everybody plays from 6th grade on.
So let's watch. Let's hear some ideas that are worth spreading.
Ideas that are worth spreading.
Meanwhile, Rupert Sheldrake gets banned.
Rupert Sheldrake?
His talk gets banned from or gets pushed to the side.
It wasn't pushed to the side. It was merely it was a nice little paper towel, and they cleaned cleaned his image up and his opinions.
We should do a video on that one someday. Look that video up. 10. What is it? Like a 10 band. What the fuck is it?
It's Ted Band, whiny little conservative. What's his name?
Rupert Sheldrake.
Rupert Sheldrake, an epic slapdown.
But he lists 10 things.
Yeah.
That
I agree with him. I mean, we
he
watched
calls
it.
it like a science delusion or something. I don't know what he calls it.
We watched it.
Yeah. But we didn't review it on here.
No. I mean, we were on coke. But, no.
Alright, let's watch this shit.
It's like, can I afford this getting out? Ban it.
Many people face the news
vocals.
each morning with trepidation and dread. Every day we read of shootings, inequality, pollution,
Pretty good.
dictatorship, war, and the spread of nuclear weapons. These are some of the reasons that 2016 was called the worst year ever. Until 2017 claimed that record and left many people longing for earlier decades when the world seemed safer, cleaner, and more equal. But
God.
Do I need my speaker? You wanna grab that?
No.
Huh?
You don't need it.
Just grab it anyways.
Grab your speaker.
Yeah. See where that white box is sticking out of? I think it's in there. Technical difficulties. Soundtrack.
is this a sensible way?
Don't.
Oh, my fault. Forced to have it. Don't do it.
Let's go like one of these things.
I always hate those little speakers. Looks like he has an earring.
Let's try this again.
He's cool.
Many people face the news each morning with trepidation and dread. Every day we read of shootings, inequality, pollution, dictatorship, war, and the spread of nuclear weapons. These are some of the reasons that 2016 was called the worst year ever. Until 2017 claimed that record and left many people longing for earlier decades when the world seemed safer, cleaner, and more equal. But is this a sensible way to understand the human condition in the 21st century? As Franklin Pierce Adams pointed out, nothing is more responsible for the good old days than a bad memory.
Yeah, probably agree with
You
that.
can always fool yourself into seeing a decline if you compare leading headlines of the present with rose-tinted images of the past. What does the trajectory of the world look like when we measure well-being over time using a constant yardstick? Let's compare the most recent data on the present with the same measures 30 years ago.
So yeah, his
How dare you pause it?
what he says as his constant yardstick is an arbitrary constant.
Mm-hmm. Just like
He probably defined it well, but it's still.
reminds me of Israel's ever expanding border. Like that. But yeah.
Let's see if he actually defines that yardstick.
Last year, Americans killed each other at a rate of 5.3 per 100,000,
Stats.
had 7% of their citizens in poverty, and emitted 21 million tons of particulate matter and 4 million tons of sulfur dioxide. But 30 years ago, the homicide rate was 8.5 per 100,000, poverty rate was 12%, and we emitted 35 million tons of particulate matter and 20 million tons of sulfur dioxide. What about the world as a whole? Last year, the world had 12 ongoing wars, 60 autocracies, 10% of the world population in extreme poverty, and more than 10,000 nuclear weapons.
100 RBI.
But 30 years ago, there were 23 wars, 85 autocracies, 37% of the world population in extreme poverty, and more than 60,000 nuclear weapons.
I had to.
I don't see how this pertains to human well-being. Right? Let's say
he might be saying they're a direct result of what is or what isn't.
Oh, all right, but stats are funny.
I'm completely aware of that. I'm just trying to say, like, maybe, like, again, we're pausing a little bit early here.
Well, no, he just made that jump right there, right? He says,
Well, sure.
"This is what's going on now, and here's 30 years ago.
Sure.
This, and that." And it's like, well, what if someone's slaving away at a job at the household has to have 2 people working a job in order to keep their house and all that shit.
Survive in the society in which they live in.
Yeah. What if they're slaving away in order to avoid the poverty part?
Yeah. Now that they're out of that statistic.
Their well-being is higher. It's like,
what's that? Do you work at McDonald's? Huh. You just made the list. Take them off the percentage. Yes, sir. 100 RBIs.
But it's like,
I was waiting for him to say it. And 420 on base percentage.
like, what is that? Like, well-being? What do you mean by that? Do you mean, like, they're physically healthy enough?
Did you know I would be
Or do
considered...
you mean
yeah.
they're happy?
I'd be considered obese by the stats. Oh. 200 pounds? 5'11". You are fat. Just saying, it's like, have you looked at this person? Yeah.
Well, they account for body fat percentage.
Fair enough. Poor example. But yeah, well-being.
I don't think they used to before.
Probably not.
They probably looked at Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're overweight, Mr. Schwarzenegger.
What do you mean?
Cut down on the coke and steroids.
Coke and steroids.
Or like, okay, you need to do more coke and less steroids. You'll thin out. And you'll be healthy. All right. But so far, I'm seeing that leap of. What do you mean by well-being when you say that? Do you mean happy? Do you mean they're physically, I don't know, healthier?
Maybe they mean happy. And that guy got hit by a car.
And does the number of military guys killed in war, does that go down? But then drug abuse goes up. Is that happening too? I don't know. Let's hear him explain.
Or the man pushing the buttons, sending the drone out, killing all the other people that don't get accounted for.
Yeah, rough estimates.
Homicides. Yep.
Yeah. Homicides versus suicides. Kurt Cobain.
One day, I'll get into that.
I don't know.
Just like this. See, these guys meant to kill them. These guys didn't mean to. We have confessions and evidence to support this theory. I mean, the fact. It's like, wait, what? Alright, keep going.
Yeah.
True, last year was a terrible year for terrorism in Western Europe, with
Bet it was.
238 deaths. But 1988 was worse, with 440 deaths.
Okay.
What's going on? Was 1988 a particularly bad year? Or are these improvements a sign that the world, for all its troubles, gets better over time? Might we even invoke the admittedly old-fashioned notion of progress? To do so is to court a certain amount of derision, because I have found that intellectuals hate progress.
He's going to talk about the whole, like, well, if there's progress, and some sort, it makes some sort of argument for God, I think. Like where it, there's a force of good we're moving towards or something. I think that's why he said that.
Well, hey,
But
one can wish, but
Yes.
at the same time, it's see, less people are getting killed. We're getting better. It's like, or,
well, let's hear him.
yeah, that's what I mean. I'm hoping he's gonna say something that's gonna go like, it's like just sway me the other way. Like, oh, okay, not sway me, but kind of like, this is what I mean, guys. Before you crucify me, before you put your
Oh
hands
no,
up.
he's around. I think he's around like-minded people,
No, I meant me. I meant us.
which is why a mysterious hidden board at TED banished
Yeah.
Rupert Sheldrake's.
I meant us.
Eh,
They're laughing, they're smiling, have a good time. You know, you can see the guy, everybody in glasses, like,
we should add that in.
I
Actually.
meant us.
Yeah.
Like this. It's like, we've heard enough.
Put the nail in. We've heard enough. Put him up.
It's like
We should go to the band talk after this.
the band talk.
It's so mysterious. Conspiracy and
You're the
Rupert Sheldrake
you're
got
the-
triangles in the background.
You're the chief principal of editing as far as for the chief officers at TED Talk, right? Yes.
No,
Who
it's
is
a
a-
shadow group.
whatever.
Nobody knows who they are.
Right. Rupert who?
Sheldrake.
Rupert Sheldrake, right? Then you're like, who? Slap in front of him. He runs away. It's like, never heard of him. We don't talk about that name, so.
The
And
guitarist.
intellectuals who call themselves progressive really hate progress. Now, it's not that they hate the fruits of progress, mind you. Most academics and pundits would rather have their surgery with anesthesia than without it. It's the idea of progress that rankles the chattering class. If you believe that humans can improve their lot, I have been told, that means that you have a blind faith and a quasi-religious belief in the outmoded superstition and the false promise of the myth of the onward march of inexorable progress.
That's basically what I said there. In a much more intelligent way. He said it in a much more intelligent way. But much more detailed.
But why? I'm not questioning why or his intentions of talking like that. It's like some guys I feel like, alright, are you just purposely talking like this?
I think
Or
I think it's a little bit of that too. These are pop intellectuals.
yeah.
And I think we're about to watch him
Flex.
do mental gymnastics trying to explain why things progress without spirituality. As if I could do a Kermit voice, I think Peterson. Oh, they're starting with a presupposition.
Oh, presupposition.
Let's hear him.
You know he's gone, right? Allegedly. Kermit is officially gone. Oh,
I didn't care that much for him.
Well, me either, but I thought him screaming and shit was funny.
Except for that Carl Sagan shit. Carl Sagan, when they did that space show with Carl Sagan and A Muppets Christmas Carol. That's all I care about. Other than that, it's
Well,
like, man,
for me, it was, if it wasn't for Muppets or anything like that, there would be no,
Muppet Babies. A cartoon.
yeah, but there's no Dave Chappelle parody, which was one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
No, that's just puppets in
I
general.
don't give a fuck, it was funny.
Not Muppets.
It's parodied.
That was more of a Sesame Street.
I live in a fucking trash can.
Yeah, it's Sesame
Oh,
Street.
whatever. It's like the same shit.
How dare you.
It's the same shit.
Alright, onward. Let's watch him do, possibly do mental gymnastics.
You are a cheerleader for vulgar American can-doism.
The Gene
With the
Simmons
raw spirit of boardroom ideology, Silicon Valley, and the Chamber of Commerce. You are a practitioner of Whig history, a naive optimist, a Pollyanna, and of course a Pangloss, alluding to the Voltaire character who declared all is for the best in the best of all possible worlds. Well, Professor Pangloss, as it happens, was a pessimist. A true optimist believes there could be much better worlds than the one we have today. But all of this is irrelevant because the question of whether progress has taken place is not a matter of faith or having an optimistic temperament or seeing the glass as half full. It's a testable hypothesis. For all their differences, people largely agree on what goes into human well-being. Life, health, sustenance, prosperity, peace, freedom, safety, knowledge, leisure, happiness.
Let's pause that there.
I was waiting for you to...
Let's see how many of those are actual physically measurable things. Okay, I might give you a pass on life. If you mean like inhaling and exhaling. Granted, I wouldn't call that life. I just call it
The first of
breathing.
Yeah, sure. But then the other one is this, the health thing. Like, the doctor says you're healthy.
Oh,
You
we're
see?
gonna go by them one by one.
Well, yeah. You're physically healthy, mentally. You drink this before they take you away.
Alright, let's go with... Alright, so life...
Yeah,
Alright,
health.
I'll give you that one.
Is it physical health or is it mental health, as they like to call it?
I think he means physical health.
Fair enough.
We'll give you physical health. Sustenance. How long
That could
you
be a
live.
bunch of things.
How long you live, I think he's going with.
Well, sustenance, prosperity.
Hold on, we're going one by one.
Well,
Slow down.
I'm not.
Slow down.
I'm not,
ADD. It's like sustenance. Happiness. You see that? There's happiness in the corner.
you done?
It's blue.
You done? You having fun? Sell out? Is that Nike? What's that say? Now? Whatever. I don't know.
Says
What
move.
whatever. It's shaped weird. I can't see it from this angle.
Good.
I was gonna say, I thought like sustenance and prosperity. I hope it's not like the same thing. Just yeah, you didn't see that coming, did you?
Maybe I'll give you sustenance. Prosperity now. That's where you're crossing over into something else. Just
See?
might as well tie prosperity with
He's making six figures.
with freedom
He's making six figures.
and happiness.
He's prospering. Prosperity. Look at him. 6 cars, 6 figures. Those 6 figures paid for that wife right there. Yes.
I do
Sitting at the premiere.
I do consider these all real things. It's just,
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
can you measure them in a lab somewhere
Well,
or use statistics?
Yeah, I'm not debating whether they're real things or not. But yeah, I find it weird when how people can measure happiness. How can you measure that? Is that
No,
possible?
Hold on. Peace.
Oh yeah, peace. Yeah.
No. Unless you
No
chop-
one. Yeah.
This is what. No offense to like the way strict scientists think, but you know what you're doing when you do these things. You're eliminating parts of yourself in order to isolate this thing, but then you end up throwing away reality itself.
Well, it's distorting reality.
It's isolating certain things in order to.
It's distorting. Yeah. I understand.
I would say distorting. I would just say isolating an aspect of something.
No. My bad. Maybe what I meant was the byproduct of what you're saying, as far as, and to do that, they may have to distort reality to come to some sort of theory here, such as if I drop this bowling ball, it will hit the ground. It's like, oh no.
So.
Now nothing will interfere. Nope.
Yeah. So let's
Like,
see.
how do you know that? Like, you know, so. So yeah, the peace thing. It's like, what does that mean? No one's died, and everyone's happy.
So let's look at this. Prosperity is abstract. Peace is abstract.
Yeah.
unless you isolate it and say, well, there's war, whether there's war or not war, that means peace.
Jasmine.
If there's no war, there's peace.
Jasmine. It's peace. Everyone's happy. They don't have a choice.
You know, it's just like say there's like a dividing wall, and people are like, fuck you, to either side of the wall.
Yeah.
It's like, but they're not fighting. There's no physical violence, so it's peaceful.
Ready? This makes some guy think of the happy bomb where everyone's happy. There's no war, but they didn't have a choice.
Right.
La 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 la.
So prosperity is abstract, peace is abstract, freedom is definitely abstract. Safety.
That's interesting. Safety.
I'm guessing he's isolating just the body. If you're physically safe.
Maybe.
Meanwhile, someone could be emotionally torturing someone.
Yeah, so, well, or themselves.
Or themselves, yes.
It's like, see that? I'm not trying to be fucked up here. It's like, see that? Yeah. That's on the outside, right?
But even if he didn't do it.
Well, that's what I meant, like, as far as internally, where you can't see the injuries, the physical injuries. It's like, would they put me away if they do that? You know? It's like, if I shot myself in front of some policeman, right? They'd probably like, oh shit, we gotta take him to the hospital and put him in some kind of ward. Like you know what I mean? Like suicide watch or whatever.
Yeah.
But they can't fucking tell what I'm thinking inside. It's like, I'm worthless. I'm nothing.
Yeah.
Just walking down the street. I'm not jumping in front of cars or anything. I'm like, that's fucking horrible.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like...
Looks like Armageddon inside their mind and shit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it's like a peaceful, nice day or whatever.
Yeah.
Peaceful.
Connor. Yeah, so...
Knowledge is definitely fucking abstract. Maybe the most...
Intelligence.
Maybe like the most abstract out of all of it. That and like happiness. Leisure, that's fucking abstract. I would say.
Depends on how he describes it.
Like time where you're not working. This is what I'm guessing he's going to be saying. Time where you're not at work, at your occupation, is considered leisure time.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
So,
that's what it's interesting though. It's like, shouldn't everybody be doing what they want to do anyway? But regardless.
Like what if your free time, your leisure time is actually skewed because of the job you have?
I heard Rogan say the other day. It's like, dude, you're living what you fucking like to do, or what you love to do. You get to watch fights. You love MMA. Parent, must love that. Based on what he said that one time, I was like, oh. You know what I mean? It's like, it's still work. Like, I exercise and stuff, or we exercise, we like it. That's just that on its own. You know what I mean? It's like, I work hard, but I'm not, I hate it. It's like, I could be fucking around like, oh, I hate sit-ups, but it's like, I love it.
Yeah. So
I'm working at Burger King, and I hate this place. I'm suffering inside. Like,
70% of this, to me, is abstract. You can make an argument that it's all abstract.
You didn't get to happiness either. That's a big...
Happiness is blatantly...
Well, that's a big one.
How are you going to measure that shit? Someone says they're happy? That doesn't fucking work.
Well, listen, Phil.
On a battery.
80% of people have drinking. The glass of smile.
Alright. Okay. Keep watching. Pause it when you do.
Play?
All of these things can be measured. If they have improved over time, that, I submit, is progress.
If they can be measured, he submits that as progress.
What? If they can be measured?
I'll take it back, son.
No, if he can measure them, then he can prove progress is a real thing.
My fault.
Measured. If they have improved over time, that, I submit, is progress. Let's go to the data.
How do you measure
Beginning with the most precious thing of all, life. For most of human history, life expectancy at birth was around 30. Today, worldwide, it is more than 70, and in the developed parts of the world, more than 80. 250 years ago, in the richest countries of the world, a third of the children did not live to see their 5th birthday. Before the risk was brought down 100-fold, today that fate befalls less than 6% of children in the poorest countries of the world.
So he is going off where I thought he would go, which is the life means how old you live to be. That's what life is. Yeah, let me do that because
Go back up, son.
I got it.
You were saying? Don't leave me alone with 3 of people, or 2.
He's measuring life based on how long you live.
Oh, the mortality rate.
Yes.
So, can you quote him? What he said exactly? Or at least, you know.
Just go back if you have to.
Oh, okay. I have the power of the mic. I mean, the mouse. Same thing, kind of. I am the captain now.
Less than 6% of children in the poorest countries of the world. Famine is one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It could bring devastation to any part of the world. Today, famine has been banished to the most remote and war-ravaged regions.
Stats.
200 years ago, 90% of the world's population subsisted in extreme poverty. Today, fewer than 10% people do. For most of human history, the powerful states and empires were pretty much always at war with each other, and peace was a mere interlude between wars.
Mm-hmm. Right, so we miss poverty. I want to see that.
Too far.
Nah, I want to see this thing. Fucking mouse. I need a mouse pad.
If only people could donate.
Okay.
Today, famine has been banished to the most remote and war-ravaged regions. 200 years ago, 90% of the world's population subsisted in extreme poverty. Today, fewer than 10% people do. For most of human history, the powerful states and empires were pretty much always at war with each other, and peace was a mere interlude between wars. Today, they are never at war with each other. The last great power war pitted the United States against China 65 years ago. More recently, wars of all kinds have become fewer and less deadly. The annual rate of war has fallen from about 22 per 100,000 per year in the early 50s to 1.2 today. Democracy.
Did you see it? Fuck.
So
it's kind of creepy, man.
So, like, basically, like we were saying, he equated peace with
mortality rate.
Not as many people dying in war.
See, 80 people died here.
Or number of wars being fought.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
This is creeping me out. I'm being really honest here. Like,
hopefully I hope his whole premise is about happiness itself. Because if it's just about surviving longer, it's like, man, are you saying that's what life is about? Inhaling and exhaling as long as you possibly can? Or is it about enjoying your time here?
Well, I understand it for enjoying it in such a way for the longest time possible. I get it.
Yeah, that is the point.
Well, yeah.
That is the follow your bliss.
But good.
Huh?
For good, for like, you know what I mean? Not, I have to survive as long as possible. This is not fun. I have to work out. Rather than, well, I'm working out, so I can just enjoy myself. And I like it too, but, you know.
Well, yeah, survival is an aspect, but it's definitely driven by, I want to survive to be here longer so I can express whatever, happiness, sadness, all of it, I would say. Most people will just say happiness, but I think everyone wants the whole canvas.
Yeah, why not?
And how else do you
Canvases are
grow?
nice.
How else do you grow, man?
Well, you just gotta go to Dominican Republic or Cuba. Ask for the chicken parm. Ask for how do I say this? The 3-course dinner. A couple months, you'll see. You'll be hitting home runs. You'll grow 6 feet.
Make sure they add extra sauce.
Extra sauce. Yes.
Chicken's out doing cleans. Shooting out monster eggs.
No, it's like
just shooting out eggs the color of the Dominican Republic flag and shit.
They're gunning how fast they shoot out the eggs and shit. It's into the basket. 80. Get that one. Send it to the children.
Thanks, resource.
Which group of children? The elementary school kids. They'll be throwing 80 in no time.
I'm gonna add to the title once we. After this video is over, I'm gonna add to the title because we're gonna look at Rupert Sheldrake's banned TED Talk. All right, let's hear him.
One more.
Let's hear him say pieces. When there's no more, when there's less war.
Kill it. Like one more. Like they clock it, you know. The egg shoots right into like a window, into a kitchen, to a pan.
What?
They clock the chicken, shoots out the egg, you know.
I thought you were gonna say it at miles per hour.
No,
shooting the egg.
Yeah, they do. They gun it, and then the egg shoots out, goes right into a home, to a pan. Here you go, Uranus. Thanks.
Our egg shit.
Uranus Cesspit was really born in 2009. Believe it or not. Believe it or not.
All right.
They did the backwards thing. Oh, I'm 12. No, I'm 27. 27. All right.
Let's hear more of.
Has suffered obvious setbacks in Venezuela, in Russia, in Turkey, and is threatened by the rise of authoritarian populism in Eastern Europe and the United States. Yet the world has never been more democratic than it has been in the past decade, with 2/3 of the world's people living in democracies.
Uh-oh.
I think you took a shot at Trump, right?
Quite possibly.
Is that populism?
Mm-hmm.
That's what basically Trump ran on.
Yeah.
And then he mentioned the boogeymen.
Yeah, the boogeyman. The
Russia.
Yeah.
Right now, Venezuela. I think he mentioned Turkey too.
It's been around for a long time, Venezuela. That whole shit.
Well, yeah, but the way now we have like guys that call themselves like progressive types,
Oh.
left-leaning liberal types,
The left.
are now they're now shitting on Venezuela. But whatever, another topic.
Homicide rates plunge whenever anarchy and the code of vendetta are replaced by the rule of law. It happened when feudal Europe was brought under the control of centralized kingdoms, so that today a Western European has 1/35th the chance of being murdered compared to his medieval ancestors.
So this is going to go back to that whole central premise of, does he mean happiness?
Or mortality rates.
No, well, does he mean happiness? Because
Oh.
yeah, you could
my
say
bad. Yeah.
you could say crime rates are down, but are they doing it because they're like, this is the right thing, this is what you should do?
Or it's, I'm gonna get caught and I'll
Yeah.
get killed.
So
that's
how
what I
many
meant,
people
yeah.
are like that?
Yeah, it's like, listen, everybody, pedophiles, one little mess up, and we're gonna gut you in front of a crowd. We have the technology to keep you alive, and we'll do it over and over and over again. 10 times at least, and then we'll kill you slowly. You begin by plucking your fingernails. It's like, oh shit! And then it's going to become like a whole thing where it's like, yeah, it stopped. No, it didn't. They're just being super secretive about it.
Or they're keeping it within their minds.
That's what I was just about to say.
Imagination.
Virtual reality pedophile world.
That already exists.
Really?
Remember
Oh, never mind.
that documentary I showed you?
Yep, I forgot.
Where they're like selling kids' photos on
Yeah.
like eBay and
Oh,
shit.
I
Like,
know.
why is this picture $500?
No, it's like it's Billy from class. Son, isn't that your friend from your 3rd grade homeroom? Yes, Dad. Why is he shirtless like Michael Jackson in that one album cover? It's like, what?
In Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah. So I got what you mean.
It began in colonial New England, in the American Wild West, when the sheriffs moved to town, and in Mexico. Indeed, we've become safer in just about every way. Over the last century, we've become 96% less likely to be killed in a car crash, 88% less likely to be mowed down on the sidewalk, 99% less likely to die in a plane crash, 95.
Unless you're a foreign leader.
5% less likely to be killed on the job.
You forgot independent political leader, possibly. Independent party. Independent. No?
Who?
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 No, they'll take you out. No names need to be said right now.
But
I don't have a sanctuary set up for me yet. You understand? My theory is this. Let's say they elect me somehow, some way, you can't get out of it. You know, they can't cheat me. You know, everybody, 95% people, we want him. No, okay. Then there's no way getting out of it. Then I know I'm just like walking down the street. I just see like gunshots, like just dodging them.
so
Get on a plane. It's really like a dummy, you know. Not a real person. You know, no one's on the plane. The plane goes down. It's like, see, that plane went down. Gunshots fired at me. What's going on? But yeah, I'm not liking how he's like measuring. Like I feel like
right now he's on
suspension.
now he's on safety.
Yeah.
And once again, that could be fucking abstract if you take it that like, let's say added awareness of crime.
Mm-hmm.
What if that adds stress levels to where police kill unarmed people?
Yeah. Or thought crimes.
Thought crimes, yes.
What's that? You posted a picture of an AK.
Or like
Bring him in. Like, what if a guy just likes
yeah.
like just shooting? You know, like the idea of like guns. You know what I mean? Not shooting and killing people, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, this is an AK-47. This is a .44 Magnum, and this is a custom built. It's like that dude likes that shit. You know? I don't know.
Or
it's like dudes and bikes. You know.
Fuck, I forgot my point.
I'm sorry. It's like my words have like that's like sucking the thoughts out of my head.
Yeah. All right. Moving
It's
on.
equating like safety with happiness, possibly.
Oh, he's equating safety with number of deaths that happen.
Yeah.
Accidentally or on purpose.
It's grouping them all together.
It's like,
which makes it anecdotal in a way. Oh no, it would, right?
I know what I was gonna say.
Right before I say something.
Like you hear old people talking about, you just open the door and let the kids out, and they're just gone for the whole day, and they come back at night. You can't do that anymore, you know. It's like, just because those less kids are dying out there from like random creepers, like, is that really increased safety? And by safety, that leads back to happiness. Like, do the kids want to just go outside and play all day, or are they stuck in that house at certain curfew times because some guy in a van might pick them up?
Billy, we can't do that anymore. We can't let Billy outside anymore. Billy, did you fill up your air in your bubble? Yes, Dad. Great, Billy. Now go home. Now go play in the park. The park is really like a silicone built thing downstairs.
Yeah.
Swings. Wee. He's safe and he's happy.
Man. We should take these measurements and just bring them to prisons.
Yeah.
Let's tally up these marks over here.
Oh,
How safe are you?
Bubble Boy, right? What was it?
Yeah, peace? Okay.
The movie with
Gyllenhaal?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, he wasn't really sick. I just wanted you to be happy. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Oh, I thought he was sick.
He was, but then like, he wasn't sick. Whatever. The idea was that the mom's like, I just wanted you to be happy. It's like, you kept him in a fucking bubble for years.
That was good.
Whatever, you know? It's like equating like safety. Like, oh, he's safe, he should be happy. It's like, you're not giving them a choice, man.
Well, let's be fair and let's see if he
Well, yeah,
brings it
I'm not,
circle back
yeah,
to happiness.
I'm not trying to label his opinion already, you know, or his idea.
89% less likely to be killed by an act of God, such as a drought, flood, wildfire, storm, volcano, landslide, earthquake, or meteor strike. Presumably not because God has become less angry with us, but because of improvements in the resilience of our infrastructure. And what about the quintessential act of God? The projectile hurled by Zeus himself. Yes, we are 97% less likely to be killed by a bolt of lightning. Before the 17th century, no more than 15% of Europeans could read or write. Europe and the United States achieved universal literacy by the middle of the 20th century, and the rest of the world is catching up. Today, more than 90% of the world's population under the age of 25 can read and write. In the 19th century, Westerners worked more than 60 hours per week. Today, they work fewer than 40. Thanks to the universal...
Let's go back to the... I feel like the U.S. was at like an uptick.
Electricity in the developed world, and the widespread adoption of washing machines, vacuum cleaners, refrigerators, dishwashers, stoves, and microwaves. The amount of our lives that we work per week, today they work fewer than 40.
The U.S. is like going up.
It's more jobs. Trump. More jobs. More jobs.
He's going back to the 1870s where they had to like ride horses or something.
Your toddler can get a job too with Trump in office.
Yeah, no, that is weird, isn't it? Like to where more jobs became the thing.
Yeah, even if it's pseudoscience.
Meanwhile, Europeans are like, less work, more leisure time.
Yeah.
Free healthcare.
Oh, Canada.
But yeah, his graph shows the U.S. trending upwards.
Yeah. It's like, let's stop it right there. Stop it right there. Don't show the decade after.
Thanks to the universal penetration of running water and electricity in the developed world, and the widespread adoption of washing machines, vacuum cleaners, refrigerators, dishwashers, stoves, and microwaves, the amount of our lives that we forfeit to housework has fallen from 60 hours a week to fewer than 15 hours a week.
Housework.
I'll give
Do all these gains in health, wealth, safety, knowledge, and leisure make us any happier? The answer is yes. In 86% of the world's countries, happiness has increased in recent decades. Well,
here we go. The central premise, which I was assuming that was the premise in the first place. He's officially stated it. Because of these things and these trends I showed you on this chart, happiness is increasing too. Even though we just made cases that for the most part, there's like a negative aspect of that too. Of each thing you labeled off.
Yeah. Ready? The boy who had everything, but he wasn't happy. He felt incomplete. No. He has to be happy. He has everything provided for. He's living a long life. He has a meal plan. He has food that's healthy. It's basically ice cream. Everything's provided for. Loving parents, toys, a dishwasher. Dishwasher? No. You know what I'm saying, no.
I sort of understand that one.
It makes shit easier, you know, I get it. But at the same time, there's people out there, I guarantee it, that don't have a lot, but they're just fucking, yeah, I'm happy, man. No.
And,
what about them?
Cooking your dinner faster doesn't mean happiness.
Yeah.
It's what you do with the leisure time is the happy part. You know, let's say you're restricted from doing something because your job over here, and then so it's like all these things that he's talking about, the way he's describing them, they all pull against each other.
Or it's like when I'll see this sometimes. It's like guys or girls will post something, you know. It's like, this means I'm happy. I have a boyfriend or girlfriend. I have a car. I have things. This is what I'm told that makes me happy. Therefore, I am happy, which means I will vote yes. I am happy. Check ballot. It's like, oh, okay, I'm happy now. Oh no. It couldn't be this. It's this thing. Even though it's like it's the wrong boyfriend. This will make me happy. Nope. We'll play Frogger all our lives until we figure out. Like, nope.
He also equated.
It's like, fuck, dude. The new car. No, it's not the right Mustang.
He also the knowledge part. He sort of skimmed over too.
He might.
He brought it up with literacy.
He might have to, which makes it as far as intelligence, as far as academics, not body intelligence or moral intelligence.
Well, I would define knowledge as something different than intelligence.
Well,
I would
define
knowledge as information plus wisdom. I would call that knowledge.
Well, that's what I was getting at, but at the same time, if he's like putting those two together like that, and just those two alone, I mean, we're not like halfway. Not really, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, so.
And a lot of these guys will never bring up this question, like, well, who are you? Who is this thing that's happy or not happy or whatever?
It's in the brain.
I think that's what their answer would be.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sure he'll...
Do you know you're angry? Do you know you beat your wife? It's the dubla oblongata. I'm just fucking around, but you know.
They'll say it has something to do with the brain. If you go deep enough, they'll say that it's just an illusion.
Shit. Yeah, I would argue that the stuff that we are able to physically measure, I think it's weird because it's like if we're if you had a bunch of cyborgs running around and they were conscious, you know, every time they got angry, their meter would go to the red. So you're angry because of the meter. That's what happens when you get angry. The meter. You have to fix that. It's like, well, maybe the meter is just what do you call it? It's a byproduct of how I'm internally feeling. You know what I mean? It's ain't some hippie shit, you know? Just saying.
Yeah. It's Scientology.
We got called hippies and fags. I'm done with that.
Scientology, where you grab the meter thing and
yeah. I forgot about that.
Read your emotions.
Yeah, the lie detector. Even that shit's been disproven.
Alright.
It's not a lie if you believe in it.
I hope to have convinced you that progress is not a matter of faith or optimism, but is a fact of human history. Indeed, the greatest fact of human history. And how has this fact been covered in the news?
Some people are just like...
A tabulation of positive and negative emotion groups in news stories has shown that during the decades in which humanity has gotten healthier, wealthier, wiser, safer, and happier, the New York Times has become increasingly morose, and the world's broadcasts too have gotten steadily.
The New York Times is trustworthy. Yeah.
Why don't people...
You said healthy, and that's where I would get at it. I'm like, what do you mean by that, man?
So once again, these guys with their trying to go off pure science when they're trying to explain their position on something. When they try to go with pure science, they end up with their beginning definitions of things seem so faulty, but then that just starts them off and allows them to run their race. That's the, what's this guy's name? Turd flinging monkey. That guy.
Dude, don't call him out.
But yeah, that guy. He starts off with the premise of you are your brain. He's basically saying you are chemical reactions in your body.
I'm not ready for him and his goons. Okay.
But he basically says that.
He just got a notification.
It's like wait. Go back and explain. Go back and prove and explain that one. And then, but if he says it and doesn't stop there, he can just run his race from there. And now everything fits. All the arguments fit into place now because your initial premise of we're just chemical reactions in the body.
Well, again, it's in a way, it's like you're building in your world that you created. Now you're building your house the way you want to, and it fits.
Yeah. Do people want to be happy? Or are people happy? Or getting happier? Well, let's define happiness. It's this, and this, and this. I have stats and graphs for them. See?
Deaths are down by 80%. Mortality.
You're happy.
Mortality rates are up by 30%.
You're happy.
Income is up by 75%.
That means you're happy.
45 home runs.
That means you're really happy. Might even be an all-star this year.
MVP. You're really happy.
None of those things, and the way he defined them, explained happiness at all. But just because he set that premise up there, now he can run his race and
45 home runs.
He can run his race and seem like an intellectual genius. Well, this guy's proved it.
I don't want to pick on him. It's annoying to me, you know. Like here's the thing. If I ever do that, fucking knock me down, you know. But I would say I don't. I'm very clear on what I know and what I don't know, as far as like he may have a certain knowledge as far as statistics or what have you. You know, such as
that wasn't really even a great
presentation.
Granted, it's a TED Talk, so you don't really have like an 8-hour lecture to explain everything.
What I mean is this though, as far as science in regards of like theories or what I mean is distorting theories and facts. You know, it's when you mesh it. Yeah. So it's a fact. The stats prove it. It's like, no, they don't. It's not a fact. What's a fact? You know, where are we getting at? What do you mean by fact? And then if we get towards fact, what do you mean? Well, it means it's the truth.
In fact, we're gonna go there now. Cause I have a feeling where Pinker's gonna forgive me if Pinker like at the last like 10 seconds of this video is like, I was lying to you the whole time.
No,
I was just playing around.
At the end, he's like, Juju. No. This is the part where it's like the 90s, you know, VHS tape where there's a big swirl like, that's where we're going next. Whoa.
So I just have the feeling he's going to continue on, and it's all going to make logical sense because of the initial premise he started off with.
Well, sure. It's like,
oh, this logically I understand this.
He invites us into his home.
But it's based on this faulty.
He invites us into our home. See, these are how the stairs work here. You see? You can walk up and down, but there's no there's no steps. You can walk upside down. It works here. In my home.
MC Escher. Painter. Let's do this.
I was gonna say, but also, where I got it from originally was The Labyrinth. David Bowie, man. David Bowie.
Yeah, I'm gonna add this into the title. Right now.
Or you could add him and King Griffey Jr. stats from 1996. 45 home runs. He's happy. Ken, you're one of the country's best players. Yeah, but you know, people have their shit, man. Allegedly, he tried to kill himself when he was young. It's like, fuck. No. I'm not trying to make a joke of it. I'm just saying. So your dad's a major leaguer. You're provided for and everything. You're happy, right? It's like, no.
Alright, let's watch this shit.
If only we had a summary. It wasn't 18 minutes. What's that? You have the new Lexus? You're happy. The commercial says so. Illuminati.
The science delusion is
Pause
the
it.
belief that science
Pause it.
already understands.
It's like, you know he's fucked because one, it's the room's not well lit. It's like, ugh.
I could be the quality.
No, I'm just fucking around. Yeah.
He has in bare feet, I think. I think he has bare feet.
What?
Yeah, he's hung out with like Terrence McKenna and shit. Those fucking LSD psychedelic dudes.
Oh.
He was on Rogan before.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think they talked about the science delusion. Or something like that.
Did you talk about toe socks? Alright, the science delusion. Like, Rowan's like, listen.
I don't know if that's the name.
Listen, dude, I'll give you $50 right now if you don't talk about that. Okay, let's go. We'll play pool after. Come on.
If you haven't heard this before, go watch it a couple of times.
Then mushrooms.
And the nature of reality
Then watch
in
it
principle, leaving only the details to be filled in.
Uh-oh.
This is a very widespread
It's
belief
lagging.
in our society. It's the kind of belief system of people who say, I don't believe in God, I believe in science. It's a belief system which has now been spread to the entire world. But there's a conflict in the heart of science between science as a method of inquiry based on reason, evidence.
It's like everyone in the crowd's like,
Oh, I think the people read the news.
I'm just joking.
All right.
Or like, what do you call it? The owner's box, like on the top. You know what I mean? They're just like, kill it. Get rid of it.
It's just shadows like leaning over, whispering to each other.
I seriously imagine, they were right. I seriously imagine like guys from Wolfman and Hart going like, open a binder, they just point to it. It's like, we can do that. Off with our channel.
Hypothesis and collective investigation, and science as a belief system or a worldview. And unfortunately, the worldview aspect of science has come to inhibit and constrict the free inquiry, which is the very lifeblood of the scientific endeavour. Since the late
That's
19th...
bare feet, isn't it?
I commend him for that.
Just on a patch of grass.
But now I know he's Illuminati, see the triangle?
Yeah. Look at those Christmas trees.
He's saying Christ.
He's mocking Christ.
He took the angel off the top of the tree. What's going on?
Where is the mistletoe?
Where's the fucking candy canes, man? We want to know. Tell us.
That's what Christ wanted. Alright.
The bare feet, man.
century,
Jesus
science
loves
has
you.
been conducted under the aspect of a belief system or worldview, which is essentially that of materialism, philosophical materialism. And the sciences are now wholly owned subsidiaries of the materialist worldview. I think that as we break out of it, the sciences will be regenerated. What I do in my book, The Science Delusion, which is called Science Set Free in the United States, is take the 10 dogmas or assumptions of science and turn them into questions.
I love it.
Seeing how well they stand up if you look at them scientifically. None of them stand.
He's like, why you have no shoes? Because I can, motherfucker.
So that's interesting, because if they're doing science, how are they not looking at what they're doing scientifically?
It becomes a belief system that way, I guess.
Well, I don't know who said this, but I've heard this before, that the point of science is to try and, whatever it is, try to prove it wrong.
Yeah.
Should always be your approach.
That's what I meant.
Always
I
trying
said
to
the other
prove it
day,
wrong.
as far as a theory being put out there,
Yeah.
and immediately there should be another theory trying to disprove that immediately.
Yeah. That's sort of what we do. Just not with the same language. Or with test tubes and lab coats.
It's because we live in Antarctica, and we're underwhelming.
very well. What I'm going to do is first run through what these 10 dogmas are.
We'll get followers
and
when we're
then I'll
dead.
only have time to discuss
100 years later.
in a bit more detail. But essentially the 10 dogmas which are the default worldview of most educated people all over the world are first that nature is mechanical or machine-like. The universe is like a machine, animals and plants are like machines, we're like machines. In fact, we are machines. We're lumbering robots, in Richard Dawkins' vivid phrase.
I do not laugh when you say
programmed computers.
lumbering machines.
Second, matter is unconscious. The whole universe is made up of unconscious matter. There's no consciousness in stars, in galaxies, in planets, in animals, in plants, and there ought not to be any in us either, if this theory is true. So a lot of the philosophy of mind over the last 100 years is being trying to prove that we're not really conscious at all.
Was it? It's like when he says that shit, it's like, oh fuck.
He's
and
so casual about it.
And then you just find out it's like it's not just a patch of grass he's standing on with the fucking light shining down. At the same time, it's like that's big.
Well, I've seen a video of him where he's at like a round table, and it looks like it doesn't look like some presentation thing. It just looks like guys. Looks like a Rogan podcast. We're just sitting around talking shit. And he's like the calm guy just sitting there in the corner waiting for his chance to say something. And then he like puts experiments out there of things he's done and shit.
He's like
for parapsychology.
He's just waiting. He's like in the back, like I said. He's like this. You can see him. The camera peers him every now and then because they think he's gonna say something, but he's not. He's just like this. Like puts in his ear. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, I'll save this for that. He's like 5 minutes.
He seemed in that round table. He seemed to be the only sort of adding abstraction to the conversation. Right. Everyone else seemed purely scientific. Yeah.
I'm not like
maybe him and another guy or something.
I don't know him that well. But what he's saying right now is in regards seems very taboo.
Wait till you look into morphic resonance.
Morphic resonance?
Resonance, yeah.
Resonance, sorry.
It's very interesting.
So the matter's unconscious, then the laws of nature are fixed. This is dogma 3. The laws of nature are the same now as they were at the time of the Big Bang, and they'll be the same forever. Not just the laws, but the constants of nature are fixed, which is why they're called constants. Dogma 4, the total amount of matter and energy is always the same. It never changes in total quantity, except at the moment of the Big Bang, when it all sprang into existence from nowhere in a single instant.
No one laughs when it's being funny.
Yeah. Nature's purposeless. There are no purposes in all.
So I made a joke, you fucking idiot. Laugh.
That wasn't a joke. That's the actual fucking thing.
Yeah, but he's like this. It's a joke altogether. Laugh. He's like there's more in his sounds. He's like dogma number 4, but inside he's like fuck you all.
They don't understand my genius. Oh yeah, that guy Lawrence Krauss was on Rogan.
No one's paying attention to my bare feet.
He's on Rogan. Physicist.
Right.
Lawrence Krauss was on Rogan's. And you probably even see a clip of it, like, Lawrence Krauss blows Joe Rogan's mind. It's like, the universe actually came from nothing. Everyone's like, what?
I'm not mocking them, it's like
it came from nothing. It spontaneously created itself.
Spontaneous combustion.
I'm like, I'm alright with that, but good luck explaining that scientifically. As in,
I don't think you could.
Not scientifically, but like materialistic science.
I don't think you could. I think you'd have to do some.
Yeah.
And then some Taebo with it.
Taebo ho. Alright.
Nature and the evolutionary purpose. The evolutionary process has no purpose or direction. Dogma 6.
I think this 5.
Biological heredity is material into existence from nowhere in a single instant. The fifth dogma is that nature is purposeless. There are no purposes in all nature, and the evolutionary process has no purpose or direction. Dogma 6, biological heredity is material. Everything you inherit is in your genes, or in epigenetic modifications of the genes, or in cytoplasmic inheritance. It's material. Dogma 7, memories are stored inside your brain as material traces. Somehow everything you remember is in your brain in modified nerve endings, phosphorylated proteins. No one knows how it works, but nevertheless, almost everyone in the scientific world believes it must be in the brain. Dogma 8, your mind is inside your head. All your consciousness is the activity of your brain and nothing more. Dogma 9, which follows from Dogma 8, psychic phenomena like telepathy are impossible. Your thoughts and intentions cannot have any effect at a distance because your mind's inside your head. Therefore, all the apparent evidence for telepathy and other psychic phenomena is illusory. Your mind's inside your head. People believe these things happen, but it's just because they...
Wait till it goes into morphic resonance. A little bit.
It's like if he's ever doing this, we just like, oh, he's explaining it again. Let's go. We'll get kicked out because we're the only one. It's like when we went to his tryout, our friend's tryout for an athletic team.
Yeah.
And then we're just the only ones laughing at it's like we're laughing at shit that we see, or
It was him fucking.
Well, yeah.
800-foot fly ball.
Yeah. And then
fuck.
Then when he's like,
he looks different than everyone else.
Then when he's running, it's like, oh my god. It's like you see like a 145-pound kid, he's like 5'6", and he runs like a 7'2", but then you see like then you see like a guy who's 7 feet tall, 500 pounds on the same speed. You're like, oh my god. Yeah. It's funny. It's like, oh Jesus Christ. We'd get kicked out. But he's like, guys, I have a bag in the back. If you guys just gotta take off your shoes. It's like in his room, for some reason there's just a bunch of grass planted. There's concrete that just ends right there at his door.
Let's keep going. And your stories.
Or it's wishful thinking.
They're not stories.
And Dogma 10, mechanistic medicine is the only kind that really works.
They're real.
That's why governments only fund research into mechanistic medicine and ignore complementary and alternative therapies. Those can't possibly really work because they're not mechanistic. They may appear to work because people would have got better anyway, or because of the placebo effect. But the only kind that really works is mechanistic medicine. Well, this is the default worldview, which is held by almost all educated people all over the world. It's the basis of the educational system, the National Health Service, the Medical Research Council, governments, and it's just the default worldview of educated people. But I think every one of these dogmas is very, very questionable, and when you look at it, it turns they fall apart.
We're watching this whole fucking thing too. I am. You can leave whatever you want.
I'm going to take first the idea that
I can't leave ever again. It's impossible.
Laws of nature are fixed. This is a hangover from an older worldview before the 1960s, when the Big Bang Theory came in. People thought that the whole universe was eternal, governed by eternal mathematical laws. When the Big Bang came in, then that assumption continued, even though the Big Bang revealed a universe that's radically evolutionary, about 14 billion years old, growing and developing and evolving for 14 billion years, growing and cooling, and more structures and patterns appear within it. But the idea is all the laws of nature were completely fixed at the moment of the Big Bang, like a cosmic Napoleonic code. As my friend Terence McKenna used to say, modern science is based on the principle, give us one free miracle and we'll explain the rest. And the one...
That's what I was saying with the Steven Pinker guy.
Yeah.
Right? give them a premise,
Mm-hmm.
and they can go off to the races and explain everything else. Even if the premise is wrong in the first place.
Oh.
Or incomplete or incorrect, whatever.
It's like Legos, man. It's like, go ahead, build it. You're missing 6 pieces. You'll find out. You'll come back. You'll come back. You always do.
Free merit is the appearance of all the matter and energy in the universe and all the laws that govern it from nothing in a single instant. Well, in an evolutionary universe, why shouldn't the laws themselves evolve? After all, human laws do, and the idea of laws of nature is based on a metaphor with human laws. It's a very anthropocentric metaphor. Only humans have laws. In fact, only civilized societies have laws. As C.S. Lewis once said, to say that a stone falls to earth because it's obeying a law makes it a man and a citizen. It's a metaphor that we got so used to, we forget it's a metaphor. In an evolving universe, I think a much better idea is the idea of habits. I think the habits of nature evolve. The regularities of nature are essentially habitual. This was an idea put forward at the beginning of the 20th century by the American philosopher C.S. Lewis. And it's an idea which various other philosophers have entertained, and it's one which I myself have developed into a scientific hypothesis, the hypothesis of morphic resonance, which is the basis of these evolving habits. According to this hypothesis, everything in nature has a kind of collective memory. Resonance occurs on the basis of similarity. As a young giraffe embryo grows in its mother's womb, it tunes in to the morphic resonance of previous giraffes. It draws on that collective memory, it grows like a giraffe, and it behaves like a giraffe because it's drawing on this collective memory.
That's interesting.
It's woo-woo, man. It's woo-woo.
That's all I needed to hear. That's all I needed to hear. Woo!
He's just some guy saying this. He didn't do experiments to look at it. He's just a guy saying it.
It's like,
not that I agree with him at all either. But at the same time, he's, in my opinion, doing it more scientifically than the other guys who are affirming something.
Sure. The true sense of the science, or the scientific idea as far as this is my theory.
Like, I don't even like the term atheist.
No, I don't.
Oh,
Atheist.
actually, that's fine.
Oh,
Not well. It would just be the term agnostic. That'd be a better term.
well, yeah, because you don't know.
Yeah, that's the point.
How can you say that?
Ask them.
It would take
Has to have
5
the right
minutes.
genes to make the right proteins, but
Yeah,
genes,
5
in my
minutes.
view, are grossly overrated. They only account for the proteins that the organism can make, not the shape or the form or the behavior. Every species has a kind of collective memory. Even crystals do. This theory predicts that if you make a new kind of crystal for the first time, the very first time you make it, it won't have an existing habit. But once it crystallizes, then the next time you make it, there'll be an influence from the first crystals to the second ones all over the world by morphic resonance. It'll crystallize a bit easier. The third time, there'll be an influence from the first and second crystals. There is, in fact, good evidence that new compounds get easier to crystallize all around the world, just as this theory would predict.
So
It sounds like it's interesting.
he's almost saying like the 100th monkey theory, to where if, let's say, we teach one monkey how to typewrite really good, it'll be that much easier for a monkey that's halfway across the world who's never met this other monkey to learn typewriting. Like there's some sort of psychic connection going on.
Hey,
I have no idea.
neither.
Or
It is interesting though.
Or do I? I can't say for everyone. I don't know. Yeah, I can only speak for myself.
Show us your documents.
It's my lab coat.
They're under the bed, aren't they?
It also predicts
Just
that
run away.
if you train
He
animals
knows.
to learn a new trick, for example, rats learn a new trick in London, then all around the world, rats of the same breed should learn the same trick quicker just because the rats have learned it here. And surprisingly, there's already evidence that this actually happens. Anyway, that's my hypothesis in a nutshell of morphic resonance. Everything depends on evolving habits, not on fixed laws. But I want to spend a few moments on the constants of nature too, because these are again assumed to be constant. Things like the gravitational constant, the speed of light, are called the fundamental constants. Are they really constant? Well, when I got interested in this question, I tried to find out. They're given in physics handbooks. Handbooks of physics list the existing fundamental constants and tell you their value. But I wanted to see if they'd changed, so I got the old volumes of physical handbooks. I went to the Patent Office Library here in London, and they're the only place I could find that kept the old volumes. You know, normally people throw them away when the new values come out. They throw away the old ones. When I did this, I found that the speed of light dropped between 1928 and 1945 by about 20 kilometers per second. It's a huge...
So,
A new one. Throw it out.
so like when you hear kids, I don't know if you've heard this in school, but I've heard this, or it's like, if the information stays the same, why are we getting new books? Like these other ones aren't damaged.
I was
It's
in
a little older culture,
I was in a school that had a history book from the fucking 80s, alright? It was 2008. What the fuck? Went to public school, it was updated.
History makes sense though. I mean, like
Yeah, okay.
mathematic books,
Oh yeah.
shit like that. Or do they like change the problems around?
Sure, but I meant other things.
That was a poor argument. All right.
I have an idea what you meant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I meant historical books, as regards to like history, the globe.
Well, those
Kids,
those have to change, right? History keeps going on.
Yeah, but
Events happen.
it wasn't anything significant in regards of kids. This is what happened in the 80s with Reagan and this whole political facade. This is basically the war on drugs, kids. Don't talk about that. Tell them what it is, what it stands for, the definition of it. They know about it. Next.
That's like anything, though.
Oh yeah, but then
History.
I had one teacher in high school that was like telling us, but not telling us. They just
That
call,
happens,
They
too.
just call them the helicopters, and everything's dealt with.
Alright, let's keep going.
dropped because they're given with errors of any fractions of a decimal points of error. And yet, all over the world, it dropped, and they were all getting values very similar to each other with tiny errors. Then in 1945, it went up. In 48, it went up again. And then people started getting very similar values again. I was very intrigued by this, and I couldn't make sense of it. So I went to see the head of metrology at the National Physical Laboratory in Teddington. Metrology is the science in which people measure constants. And I asked him about this. I said, what do you make of this drop in the speed of light between 1928 and 1945? And he said, oh dear, he said, you've uncovered the most embarrassing episode in the history of our science. So
It's like
I said,
gravity.
well, could the speed of
Gravity's
light
different in
have
different
actually
areas.
dropped? And that would have amazing implications. He said,
That's basically
no,
what
of
it's
course
saying.
it couldn't have actually dropped. It's a constant. So, well then how do you explain the fact everyone was finding it going much slower during that period? Is it because they were fudging their results to get what they thought other people should be getting, and the whole thing was just produced by, in the minds of physicists? We don't like to use the word fudge. I said, well, what do you prefer? He said, well, we prefer to call it intellectual phase locking.
Oh, that's perfect.
Actually, I thought he was going to make a case for the morphic resonance thing. As in, one guy measures it this way on one part of the world, and some other guys, like, through some psychic weird shit, come up with a similar value. I don't know.
What do you call it? Psychic what?
What?
So we don't call it fudge. We call it
intellectual face locking, phase locking, something like that.
I'm gonna use that. I'll sound real intelligent. Yeah, it's my goal to sound intelligent.
Alright.
So I said, well, if it was going on then, how can we say sure it's not going on today? And that the present values are produced by intellectual phase locking. And he said, oh, we know that's not the case. I said, how do we know? He said, well, we've solved the problem. And I said, well, how? He said, well, we fixed the speed of light by definition in 1972.
He's dry
so I said, but it might still change.
Moving the
yes,
goalposts.
We never know it because we've defined the meter in terms of the speed of light. So the units had changed with it. So he got very pleased about that. They'd fixed that problem.
He's dry snitching, man. It's like,
but I said, well, then what about big G, the gravitational constant known in the trade as big G? It's written with a capital G. Newton's universal gravitational constant.
He's a Mason.
By more than 1.3%
Goes like this.
in recent years.
Was it itching
and it seems to vary from place to place and from time to time. And he said, oh, well, those are just errors. And unfortunately, there are quite big errors with big G. So I said, well, what if it's really changing? I mean, perhaps it is really changing. And then I looked at how they do it. What happens is they measure it in different labs. They get different values on different days. And then they average them. And then other labs around the world do the same. And they come out usually with a rather different average. And then the International Committee on Metrology meets every 10 years or so and average the ones from labs around the world
has a turntable
with the value of big G. But what if G were actually fluctuating? What if it changed? There's already evidence actually that it changes throughout the day and throughout the year. What if the Earth, as it moves through the galactic environment, went through patches of dark matter or other environmental factors that could alter it? Maybe they all change together. What if these errors are going up together and down together? For more than 10 years, I've been trying to persuade metrologists to look at the raw data. In fact, I'm now trying to persuade them to put it online on the internet with the dates and the actual measurements and see if they're correlated, to see if they're all up at one time, all down at another. If so, they might be fluctuating together, and that would tell us something very, very interesting. But no one has done this. They haven't done it because G's a constant. There's no...
I'm telling you, it's a turntable.
This reminds me of the Corbett Report video. We're talking about the IPCC on climate change.
Yeah.
And he says when they're measuring temperatures, when they're measuring the temperature of the Earth, so they can say whether it's climate change or not.
Yeah.
First of all, they're not measuring they're not measuring like every single like patch of ground, obviously.
Yeah.
Then their definition of what the ground
regulatory?
The ground temperature versus like a level above that or whatever.
Above surface.
10,000 feet in the air. All that shit. So yeah. So he's like, how are they actually measuring this? And they're like taking averages from all over and shit like that.
It's funny.
It is fucking interesting. It's
You're a funny guy, man. It's like, what?
That's why you're supposed to come out and say, we think this is it.
Notch.
Because no one expects you.
It's a fact. See? Right here.
No one expects you to put a thermometer through every square space of the entire planet and say, this is what the actual average temperature is.
I'm just raping the Earth, sticking
at 3
thermometers
feet
on
off the
there.
ground.
It's like, get ready, Earth. It's like, how dare you?
Actually,
Yo, he's lukewarm.
Corbett actually used the example of measuring, like, how tall is my grass on average?
Yeah.
It's like, are you going to really measure each blade of grass?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you just, instead of doing that, you just pick out like 20 of them and average it and say, oh, my average.
How tall is my grass? Well, I pay attention to this side of the right grass more than the other.
So
James stepping on the...
we're
Ready?
polling.
You know who's like, of course, James, you step on the part where I'm trying to grow the grass. Of course. You would. I was like, fuck.
He made fun of you because I told him about putting the bed together. I just stayed up all night. Just couldn't figure it out. Sure, this is in English. All right.
To be honest with you, I probably would have done it the way they told me to.
Yeah, it's not. Just making fun of you. So
It's whatever. That's all I gotta say about that. Marty's watching. He's like, remember that. Your mic got better. Remember. Here's every little fucking thing I ever say.
You see, here's a very simple example of where a dogmatic assumption actually inhibits inquiry. I myself think that the constants may vary quite considerably, well, within narrow limits, but they may all be varying. And I think the day will come when scientific journals like Nature have a weekly report on the constants, like stock market reports in newspapers. You know, this week Big G was slightly up, the charge on the electron was down, the speed of light held steady, and so on.
all this scientific gibber jabber.
So,
what are you talking about,
area,
man?
I was supposed to laugh.
One area where I
Tell me when I'm supposed to laugh.
thinking
Want to fit
less
in.
dogmatically could open things up. One of the biggest areas is the nature of the mind. This is the most
Everybody starts
unsolved
slowly
problem,
doing
as
this,
Graham just
taking
said,
off their shoes.
that science simply can't deal with the fact we're conscious. And it can't deal with the fact that our thoughts don't seem to be inside our brains. Our experiences don't all seem to be inside our brain. Your image of me now doesn't seem to be inside your brain, yet the official...
This is like the trippy part, I think.
Do you mean he's gonna try to see who walks out of here with like no shoes, labels them a fucking bitch? It's like you and you and you and you, conformists. How dare you? How dare you? No. What?
You'll hear it.
inside our brains. Our experiences don't all seem to be inside our brain. Your image of me now doesn't seem to be inside your brain, yet the official view is there's a little Rupert somewhere inside your head, and everything else in this room is inside your head. Your experience is inside your brain. I'm suggesting actually that vision involves an outward projection of images. What you're seeing is in your mind but not inside your head. Our minds are extended beyond our brains in the simplest act of perception. I think that we project out the images we're seeing, and these images touch what we're looking at. If I look at you from behind, you don't know I'm there, could I affect you? Could you feel my gaze? There's a great deal of evidence that people can. The sense of being stared at is an extremely common experience, and recent experimental research suggests it's real. Animals seem to have it too. I think it probably evolved in the context of predator-prey relationships. Prey animals that could feel the gaze of a predator would survive better than those that couldn't. This would...
I think that's the idea where I'm like, I don't know. As far as making an argument for that.
Oh, I haven't touched on that subject. I don't know.
Like I could hear it. Like, he says he's done experiments on it, but it's like, I don't know how well is that going to hold up.
Oh.
Can someone just explain that through evolutionary processes? Like you got to learn to sense when something's new, or whatever, or hear the most noticeable little thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, fucking tree branch snapped.
Then we box it
There's
out.
a predator behind me.
Then we box it out. Then we box it out. And box it out. And then we go again. And then we get our tokens and put it in the coin slot and press the button. And here we go.
Lead to a whole new way of thinking about ecological relationships between predators and prey. Also about the extent of our minds. If we look at distant stars, I think our minds reach out in a sense to touch those stars and literally extend out over astronomical different distances. They're not just inside our heads. Now it may seem astonishing that this is a topic of debate in the 21st century. We we know so little about our own minds that where our images are is a hot topic of debate within consciousness studies right now.
That's, if you look up a guy named Daniel Dennett, I believe he tries to explain that. But it almost sounds as woo-woo as what Sheldrake's saying. But he tries to explain it in a like hyper materialist way.
Like a world heavyweight champion. Materialist, woo-woo. I mean,
oh, it ends up becoming whimsical and mystical sounding. Sort of.
I don't have time to deal with any more of these dogmas, but every single one of them is questionable. If one questions it, new forms of research, new possibilities open up. And I think as we question these dogmas that have held back science so long, science will undergo a reflowering, a renaissance. I'm a total believer in the importance of science. I've spent my whole life as a research scientist.
And blah, blah, blah.
Oh. I don't need to hear your life spear. Click.
So yeah.
I'm done here. You're barefoot. Foot not.
So
it's very interesting. And I agree with him to some degree as far as it's like science. Not science, but people made it out to be some sort of belief system. Where we're claiming that we're knowing and we don't know.
But yeah, he's pointing out basically what we point out. It's just he probably uses better language and
better clothes.
He's also a scientist himself.
Also has a patch of grass to stand on, and an audience and full of Christmas trees.
But yeah, he's done interviews with with Christian Murdy, Terrence McKenna, and shit like that.
Probably has more money.
No, I'm saying
which means he's happy.
I'm saying that's where he came from.
Yeah.
So that's all interesting.
You know, one day we're able to get a shape constantly changing its shape behind us one day.
Yeah.
Solidifying our place in the world.
So now, during this video and with the Steven Pinker video, it's fucking interesting.
Well, it is, but it's very interesting. The other thing that's very glaring is how they just took this shit down.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting, but he's almost breaking down what Steven Pinker was doing.
But yeah, that's what I mean. It's like when you watch these back to back, whatever way you watch them. Preferably, I'd watch the Pinker video than this. It's like, and then when you watch it again, I'd watch this first again, and then I'd watch it. Oh, you see what he's doing here?
Yeah.
See how he's just kind of quickly. It's like, I don't know, dude.
He established.
It's like
in his own way, he established constants.
It's like making a sandwich. It's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Peanut butter and sandwich. It's like, wait, what? See, here you go.
Pinker established his constants, which you can almost equate with, gravity, as Sheldrake was on, gravity or the speed of light or whatever.
It's changed.
Yeah.
Just like
the problem is he's trying to tackle happiness. That's where it's like, what the fuck? Hey. You had to make these things that aren't constants into constants in order to set the rest of your whole argument. And it's like, man, you still got to work on your whole principle definitions here.
Yeah.
No, he does. Or he's using charts and shit.
All I meant was as far as he's like, okay,
as evidence.
I don't know how to say it. I'll use these charts. This will get them. It's like, not me. Not me.
Alright. Well, that's it. Time to go.
It's time to go dig in the mines.
Eat a burger. And thank you for being underwhelmed. And give this video a thumbs down. I'm still looking off into space somewhere.